If you are a greater Bostonian, you live in one of the most interesting cities in the world, filled with some of the most interesting people.
A person of interest could be anyone. The person need not be among the rich and famous, although being rich and famous does not exclude someone from this title. A person of interest is someone, anyone, with an interesting story.
In each episode, we will interview a person whose life has had its dramas. It could be you. You are probably an interesting person. You have undoubtedly had a life filled with dramatic moments, both big and small.
If you would like us to interview you, please contact us. If not, please listen to your neighbors, friends, and community members that we interview and be inspired by the wonders of their life stories. And now, for our episode.
Haticha Eisenberg is an immigrant from Turkmenistan. When still living and teaching in her native country, she fell in love with a young American Peace Corps teacher who was assigned to her school. After his stint of duty, he returned to the U.S., hoping that he could help Haticha get a visa to the U.S. Miraculously, his persistence paid off, and Haticha and her daughter Monica arrived at Logan, strangers in a strange land. Haticha and Monica both have succeeded here. Haticha returned to college with the aim of becoming a nurse. After winning highest honors in her program, she got a job at Mass Eye and Ear, where she's highly valued and well loved. This podcast documents the way immigrants adapt to their new country. Haticha, thank you for coming this afternoon and speaking with us and sharing your experience immigrating to the U.S.
Thank you so much. We so appreciate being able to hear how people adapt to the U.S.
You are welcome, and it's my pleasure. I'm very excited to share my life journey with you guys. Thank you so much.
Your husband, Nathan, was a Peace Corps worker in Turkmenistan, and you agreed to meet him in the U.S. Were you anxious and nervous about this move?
Yes, of course. I have to give up everything that I have earned all my life, and it was very hard decision. Even though I loved him and I love him, I decided several times I gave up because I didn't want to give up my parents, my siblings, my friends, everything that I own. But my sister Baljan one day told me, open your eyes. You had your life here. You had your child. You had really hard life. Now give a chance for yourself to be happy who truly loves you. Give a chance for your daughter to get better education and better life. So I decided to marry him.
What were some of your first impressions of the United States when you first got here?
First thing I remember, it was scary because we were in airplane and we looked. When the airplane landed, Monica and I looked from the window and we saw only water. And I was so scared where we are in the island. And my mom told me, you are throwing yourself to the ocean or you are throwing yourself to the fire. You don't know the whole family, these guys. You shouldn't just take your baby with you. Maybe you should leave Monica with me and then see how the life is there. So first thing came that my mom told me that I'm throwing myself somewhere that I don't know. So I saw the water, and the first thing Monica said, oh my God, where are we gonna live? This looks like everywhere water. And we looked, both sides looked like water. So I said, maybe their airport is, near the water. So that was scary part, but actually it was because near the ocean, And in Turkmenistan, it's a deserty country. We don't have ocean. It's not close to ocean there. We have rivers, but not like this big ocean. And it was like shocking for us. So, and through the airport we went. Nathan was waiting with his grandparents, and he had a Logan, says, I still have it. It says, Haticha and Monica, welcome to your new home. And he had flower. I was anxious. We were scared because it's new place. Everything is new and we don't know what will happen. And at the same time, I trust him. So when we met his grandparents and his sister with boyfriend was there, they are married now. And we came home and they showed their place to stay. It looked like for me smaller room because I grew up in big room. But the house was very nice and nice place in Wabin. I started adapting myself, and he told his nana, grandmother, said that I can't cook and she has to help me to cook and teach me. So one day I was in the kitchen, my own kitchen in the basement, making bread, Uzbek bread from scratch. I made Uzbek bread and I cooked food with Monica together. So grandmother came and said, what he's talking about? She's cooking so much food. What I'm going to teach? Maybe I'll learn from her. Because my sister tricked him when he was in Turkmenistan. When I cooked, she served the food. My sister said, this is I made for you. I cooked this food. But actually, I cooked that.
So when you first came, it sounds like you spent a lot of time with your immediate...
Because I'm a workaholic, I call myself. I work a lot. So I wasn't working at that time. So I was sitting home, cleaning, helping grandparents, cooking mostly times, and tried to know them better, closer. And I met neighbors and I made food I shared with neighbors. And one day Nathan took me to JCC, drove me JCC. I have my Turkmen license, which is in 3 languages, and I could drive the car with that license 1 year. But Nathan was so scared because I am in fiancé visa came and I have to marry him so fast, within 90 days. And also he didn't want to get police will pull over and find out that, and then they will deport me. So he didn't allow me to drive. So I looked at streets, I remember the streets, and next day Monica started school. I was with her a couple days helping her translate. And by the way, school system is totally different here than Turkmenistan. The kids, they weren't listening. My kids used to sit like this and raise their hand, comrade teacher, they ask questions. There, they were jumping on the teacher's head. I was like, I can't be a teacher. I might do something like slap and then they will put me in jail. I can't do this. So I said, I'm going to start looking job for myself. So I dropped Monica at school and I ran to JCC from Wabin. I met one Russian-speaking Valeria, and I told her, I said, I'm looking for a job, but don't tell my husband because my husband works here, and I want to work. So I met Susan, who was boss. She was a manager in Women's Health Club, and then she interviewed me. She knew that I was Nathan's wife, and she helped me out. And I worked there 6 months. My husband didn't know. I ran after school. I dropped Monica school, ran to JCC, worked until 2 o'clock, ran back to school, picked her up. I cooked, cleaned, everything was clean, and he thought I was all day in the house cooking and cleaning. So one of the, I think, legally blind woman met me one time. She used to come and swim. She's 89 or 90 years old. She said to my husband, said, your wife is not wearing gloves when she's picking up the towels. And my husband said, what you are talking about? My wife is at home. She doesn't work here. No, she's working here. I saw her. I remember her figure. I remember, and she see contrast, She didn't see the whole thing. And then he called to Women's Health Club and I answered. And then he found out. So that was my working. And I saved some money. Actually, for that money, I bought my first car in America by just walking, running, and earning that money.
What did you miss most about Turkmenistan when you first came to the U.S.?
First, of course, I was homesick. I missed my parents, my siblings, my friends, my work as a teacher, my students, and mostly I felt like at home I'm loved and cared. All the time someone will come and someone will ask, how are you doing? Here was Nathan goes to work, grandparents do their stuff, and I was stuck at home. Monica is at school, and I had nowhere to go. So neighbors work. If I go to neighbor's house, they are at work. I felt like just lonely. First time I was lonely, so I started cooking, cleaning, cooking. That's why I found that job. I said, I will be crazy if I sit home. I have to work. So I found that job. I started working, and yeah, I worked there 6 months. He found out. Then I still ran because he left earlier. I have to take care of my child to school. So I still did running. I did running back and forth, working like that.
What were some of the hard issues you faced here in the U.S.?
The hardest part, I think some people, they don't want to accept you because you are immigrant. And I did hear a lot of people saying that immigrants taking our job. But I'm working hard to get the job. I started from associate degree. First, I went to Newton Wellesley to be a volunteer. I volunteered there. And then Nathan hold my hand and took me to Mass Bay. And I got my associate degree in Mass Bay. I became RN, and I worked in Maxim Health as a nurse. I gave flu shots all over. I traveled. And on that time, I also enrolled full-time Framingham State University and graduated 1.5 years with GPA 4.0. So right away I graduated, and then I started working in operative room as a OR nurse. And I am now at Regis College pursuing family nurse practitioner.
So what do you like most about living in the U.S.?
I love living in U.S. It's mostly freedom. Freedom you don't get in Turkmenistan much. I wanted to be a doctor when I was growing up. My dad didn't allow me because he thought it will take 11 years to be a real doctor, and my age will pass 22, then no one will marry me. Because the culture, if you get older than 25, 26, nobody will marry. So it's a perfect age, 23, 22 or younger to marry. So he said, this is my obligation. He put cross for medical school. So I wanted to go to law school, and my mom's cousin got killed. She was a lawyer. Then my mom said, no, you're not going to law school. So I end up going to pedagogical university to be a teacher. It's a perfect suit for women in Turkmenistan, teachers. So I became foreign language teacher. After I had an arrangement marriage. After this marriage, everything, I told my dad, I said, you married me and you want me to go to be a teacher. I love teaching, but I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to work in a medical area. I wanted to help people. So he said, now you can do it, whatever you want. So I went to Capital and I did the application. I was turning June 6, but my application I brought May 6. Gave my application. They looked my birth date and they said, oh, you will turn 25 and you are too old to be a student. They closed and gave it to me. Don't think you can't study. You are too old. So I cried, came back home, and I was like, everything ruined. My life is ruined. I wanted to be a doctor. Now I'm too old. But when I arrived in America, when I decided I don't want to be a teacher anymore, and first question I asked Nathan, I'm too old to go to college. He said, what are you talking about? This is America. You can go whatever age. Nobody will stop you. So I said, okay, I want to be a doctor. So I did volunteering in Newton Wellesley. I followed doctors for a month, and only paperwork they did. And then I looked, these people were giving IVs and kept helping people. And I said, who are these people? They said, nurses. Oh, I want to be nurse then. So they switched, and 2 months I did shadowed nurses, and I end up going schools through schools, and now I'm a nurse. And thank you. And I am happy that I chose to be a nurse.
And you're continuing your education now?
I will be a nurse practitioner.
Have you felt mistreated because you're an immigrant in the U.S.?
Yes, several times. First time in Mass Bay, I went there and they put me because English is not my first language. Even though I was passing the tests, they said, you cannot be in English 101. You have to go through the English second language classes. So I actually fought with them. The whole system. I was in that class. I talked to my professor. I said, I can teach this class. You sit down there and watch me. I used to teach this class. So that's why I met a lot of people from Korea, from Turkey. We are best friends now. From Brazil, from Bangladesh. We had one non-girl. So I taught them English, actually, that class. So my teacher said, I feel bad. Yeah, it's not fair, she said, because it's not first language, but write essay. So I wrote essay. They put the numbers, they don't put your name, and then the people sit down and read your essay. So they did that. People were reading my essay, were crying, and I end up jumping 3 years straight to English 101. And I was with American students. That's why I saved time and money, and I was in the right place. That was kind of, I think it's a system, what they work. I wasn't born here, and lots of discrimination, that verbally they say, jokingly they say. Actually, it hurts. And my attitude is I take everything positively. If it's negative energy, I leave that space. And that is what I do. And then I joke with other friends who loves me, no matter where I came from, no matter what is my background. So I stay with those friends, not the other negative people, because I don't want to ruin my day.
Have you ever run into any Trump supporters who discriminate against immigrants?
Yes, actually, I see those people and I encounter with them every day. I built strategy that to overcome. Several times they told me that I have to go back to my country. I shouldn't be here, and I'm taking their jobs because I am continuing my education. I heard lots of things, and I just said, well, are you Native American? Are you Native? Your parents or grandparents also immigrated. So don't tell me what to do. So I just left like that, and I try not to engage any political stuff or engage anything, because it's not worth of my energy and it's not worth of my time. So it is hard. When you have somebody negative, somebody saying negative stuff, it is hard, but I just take this positively and I leave. I leave the room wherever they're talking, because it's not worth it for your energy.
Do you have a response that's very good for some of these intolerant people?
I heard one person was asking questions, was very annoyed by saying that and asking questions. What do you accept? Like, the immigrants come with legally. Is that okay if they come legally? And some of the people are working there. They came from another country, and their legal documents they have. No matter what So these people said they should stay in their country and serve for their country. This is my country and I want to do myself. So I said, okay, how many people here real born in America? We counted 4 people at my workplace. I said, can you run the hospital with 4 people? The other people's all immigrants. Oh, we'll run. Yeah, we'll run. They don't understand, or they don't want to understand.
How did your daughter Monica adjust to her new environment?
Monica is a very strong girl. She was 7 years old, first came, and I remember I was a translator for her. They allowed me to go to Angel School because my background being a teacher, and being a mother of Monica. By the time I translate, the other American kids will answer, for example, what is a day today? What is a date today? And they answer. And Monica was annoyed because she wanted to be a good student. She wanted to answer. So after a week, they found a teacher to help her. And my biggest fear was she didn't speak English much. She only knew 10 sentences. So my biggest fear was like she will fall behind because to learn brand new language for her. And I looked around, everybody fluent speaks English, of course, they're Americans. And I was thinking she was really embarrassed because she has darker skin. So she thought that people will look down because she has darker skin. Everybody is lighter skin in the classroom. So she came home saying that I don't want to go to school because I'm the darkest person in the classroom. So grandmother Nana, Nathan's grandmother, told her that she uses some kind of tanning to get darker because darker is beautiful color. And she explained to her, but still in her mind, she was thinking that she's darker than the other kids. And at the same time, she started concentrating just English, learning English. She was forgetting Uzbek. So which I wasn't happy about that because I wanted her to keep her native language that she can communicate with her grandparents and her aunts, uncles. But I'm so proud of her. She never fell behind. She passed all her middle school. Now this year she graduated high school and she got scholarship from Mass Pharmacy College. And she got scholarship from Rhode Island University, and she wanted to be a pharmacist. The last minute, and she changed her mind. Pharmacist wouldn't be fun job for her. Maybe she will think about it. She will take a gap year, and she will work in the CVS, and she will go with me to the hospital and shadow the pharmacist. If she really wants to continue, the school promised they will keep the scholarship for her and she can start next year. So I was so proud. I cried during graduation because she never fell behind and she graduated with honors.
Monica told me that she was much happier at Framingham High School than at Newton South High School because it was a much more multicultural environment and she felt much more at ease there.
Yes. Newton South, she also lost her best friend. There was incidents of suicide there and her best friend, and she had really hard time. We went through therapies. They were some groups not nice, but she had good friends, and one of her best friend had a suicidal ideation and she did commit. Yes, it was very hard for her. I tried to support her. We went to counseling, and then I understood because 3 of them happened there. So I wanted to protect my daughter, and I said, we need to move out from this environment because this is not healthy for her. She's not happy there anymore. So we looked, of course, better school places. And then when Nathan found that this brand new house, we looked for school. She finished school year with her grandparents staying here, and then moved to Framingham. So after she started Framingham, there is a cultural people there, and she made fast friends. And then she said, "These are very nice, Mom. They don't care what you wear. Poor these people, they don't even know what's Lululemon. They are like so nice. They are like a real human being." So she made friends, and academically she did great. I think I'm not saying that Newton South is not good school. I'm saying that the academic pressure is different than the other schools.
Did anything in particular help you to adapt to your new life in the U.S.?
I am easily adapt things, and I am very friendly, and I make friends easy. I don't know, it's my personality. So I always think I can do this. I can make this person better. Even though this person, every time she doesn't like immigrants, I share my food with her. I say, "Try this, my food. It's my national food. Here I made salad. Try this salad." My mom said, if someone is against you and she or he is your enemy, don't fight. Hit with your food. That means give them food, your food, and make them closer to you. She always said, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer to you, because if they are closer, they will not harm you. So I'm using my mom's tactic that I feed them. I'm nice. I don't engage anything. So I'm teaching my kids right now to be exact like that. When they're angry with someone, and I always say, you have to be forgive, and give something, hang out. And then Monica had a couple of times friends didn't understand each other, and she invited home. She talked to them, and they became best friends. "Mom, how do you know that?" I said, "Yeah, sometimes it works like that way. You don't need to, make a big deal and fight." So I think because of that, I adapted faster than other people. I believe if you are positive, you have positive energy, and you are friendly, you are always smiling, I think this opens up all good path for the life. Share what you have, and you make people happy, you are happy.
I think if people everywhere followed your advice, there'd be a lot more happy people. And I want to thank you so much for giving us that advice, because it's just not for immigrants, it's for all of us. And thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
You have been listening to Serendipity's Person of Interest, produced and directed by Tonette Terhar and Barbara John. If you have an interesting story and would like to participate in this podcast or have any helpful suggestion, email us at barbaraj.massed@gmail.com. barbaraj.massed@gmail.com. We would very much like to thank our guests and the staff at New TV, who are always more than helpful. So until our next episode, we will say goodbye. Thank you for listening.
Just eliminate